What if I told you that beneath the surface of every moon in Stanton lies a vast network of abandoned research facilities where the darkest experiments of the UEE took place? Alpha 4.3 is about to take Star Citizen's exploration to depths we've never experienced before. Those distribution centers we've been visiting, just the tip of the iceberg compared to what's coming. You know that feeling when you're scanning a moon's surface, just another routine resource hunt, and suddenly your radar picks up something that shouldn't be there. That little blip that makes your heart skip because it might be, just might be, something nobody's found before. That's the feeling this 4.3 patch is promising to deliver, but on a much grander scale. After 3 years now of running the same bunker missions, the same outpost layouts, you can probably clear them with your eyes half closed while sipping coffee, which, let's be honest, many of us have literally done during those late night play sessions. But these Onyx facilities, they're promising something we haven't felt in a long time in Star Citizen. Genuine surprise. The kind that makes you call your friends at 2 a.m. saying, "You've got to see this." For those of us who backed this project, dreaming of unexplored frontiers rather than just combat loops, this feels like CIG finally remembering the exploration pillar that's been gathering dust in the corner of the roadmap for years. Alpha 4.3 is officially targeted for an August 2025 release, with PTU testing potentially starting in July, though we all know how that goes, right? Remember when Pyro was coming next quarter for 7 consecutive quarters? But the content lineup this time suggests CIG is actually fairly confident in their timeline. These cooperative zones represent something fundamentally different from what we've seen before. They're not just new mission locations. They're a mechanical and philosophical shift. Instead of the familiar loop of get mission, go to marker, shoot things, return, these areas seem designed around environmental storytelling, puzzle solving, and, most interestingly, player cooperation. And let's be clear about scale. We're talking about new underground facilities on every moon in Stanton, not just 1 or 2 testing locations, but potentially dozens of unique exploration sites spread across Selin, Daymar, Yela, Aberdeen, Ida, Magda, Ariel, Walla, Lyria, and Calliope. Some moons might even have multiple facilities, according to CIG. The Onyx designation is significant too. In UEE military classification, Onyx level clearance represents the highest secrecy tier, above even the black site designations we've seen at ArcCorp's ASD facilities. Whatever happened in these places was meant to stay buried, literally and figuratively.
For those following the lore, Dr. Jorrett has been mentioned in various mission texts since 3.15, always in connection with questionable research practices regarding consciousness transfer. These facilities appear to be where his most controversial work took place. Research deemed too sensitive even for normal ASD oversight. When you step into one of these facilities for the first time, you won't just be exploring new geometry. You'll be walking through chapters of Star Citizen's darker narrative. Remember finding those first few mission givers back when they were introduced? That sense of the universe becoming more tangible, more lived in? These facilities promise to deliver that feeling again, but through environmental storytelling rather than NPC dialogue. Think about the difference between reading a mission text about the regen crisis versus actually seeing its consequences firsthand. Abandoned experiment chambers, hastily evacuated research stations, logs detailing exactly how things went wrong. It's the difference between being told a story and discovering it yourself. You've probably noticed how CIG has been gradually getting better at environmental storytelling, like the crashed Javelin on Daymar that tells a story without a single line of dialogue. Now, imagine that level of detail applied to interior spaces designed specifically for narrative discovery. According to the roadmap, these facilities are enormous multi-level structures divided into 3 wings. The reference to 3 distinct wings suggests different research focuses or security levels. Perhaps one wing for initial test subjects, another for more advanced experiments, and a third for, well, whatever went so wrong that these places were abandoned rather than just decommissioned. When you consider how CIG has evolved their mission design from the basic delivery runs of 3.0 to the multi-stage Stormbreaker missions of 4.2, this feels like the next logical step, creating spaces where the environment itself is the mission, where discovery rather than completion is the reward. I can already hear the skeptical veterans in the back saying, "Sure, but how exactly will cooperation work in a game where half the players shoot first and never bother with questions?" It's a fair point, right? We've all had that moment of friendly waving to another player, only to catch a railgun round to the face a second later. The mechanics of enforcing or encouraging cooperation will make or break this feature. Will these be mechanically cooperative, requiring multiple players to solve puzzles simultaneously, or just thematically cooperative, suggesting but not requiring teamwork? CIG has been deliberately vague about this. Some players are speculating these might be instanced areas, which would be a significant departure from Star Citizen's persistent universe philosophy. Others think they might implement a version of armistice zones that prevent player versus player damage, but still allow environmental threats. Whatever approach they take, it's going to create passionate debate in the community. There's also the question of rewards. If these facilities are designed for groups, will the loot be distributed accordingly? We've all been in that awkward situation after a bunker clear where everyone's racing to grab the same rare weapon. Now, multiply that by the complexity of these new facilities, and you can see why reward structure matters just as much as the cooperative mechanics themselves. The Zenith sniper rifle isn't just another weapon to add to your already overflowing inventory. It's a solution to a problem every FPS player in Star Citizen has experienced. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That moment when you've lined up the perfect shot with your parallax, you start charging it, and then your target steps behind cover just as the charge completes. You're left holding a fully charged weapon with no target, forced to either waste the shot or maintain an awkward charge state while trying to reposition. The Zenith's auto-charging mechanism fundamentally changes this dynamic. The weapon remains charged while held, giving you instant firing capability the moment a target presents itself. But, and this is the interesting part, it creates a new risk-reward calculation. The humming sound it makes while charged essentially broadcasts your position to enemies. It's like carrying a deadly weapon that's constantly whispering, "Hey, over here!" For snipers who've spent hours finding the perfect perch in bunkers or outposts, this creates a fascinating tactical question. Do you accept the audible risk for instant firing capability, or do you maintain silence at the cost of reaction time? It's exactly the kind of meaningful choice that makes combat interesting beyond just damage numbers. Paired with the new light gist armor, we're seeing CIG finally embrace specialized roles beyond the current heavy armor plus big gun meta that dominates most PvE content. This armor prioritizes stealth and mobility over protection, perfect for recon, infiltration, and, of course, sniping. Think about your typical bunker approach now, clomping down corridors in heavy armor that broadcasts your position to every NPC within 50 meters. The light gist potentially transforms this into something more akin to stealth games like Splinter Cell, where positioning and quiet movement matter more than your ability to absorb damage. For solo players especially, this opens up entirely new approaches to content that previously required brute force or group tactics. It's not just new gear, it's new gameplay possibilities written in lightweight materials and sound dampening technology. You know what's really making me look forward to 4.3 though? It's not the fancy new underground facilities or even the specialized gear. It's the ladder improvements. Yes, ladders. Because we've all been there, haven't we? You're deep in a bunker mission with friends. Everything's going perfectly for once. No 30Ks, no random deaths. Everyone's inventory is working. You've cleared all opposition, loaded up on loot, and you're feeling pretty good about life in the verse. Then, someone spots what might be a valuable item on an upper level, accessible only by ladder. I'll check it out, you say, confidently approaching what looks like a simple vertical climb. One tap of the F key, and suddenly, physics.exe has stopped working. Your character gets vacuum-sucked sideways at Mach 5, clipping through solid walls, and now you're somehow floating outside the geometry, staring at your ship through what should be solid rock. Your friends are howling with laughter on Discord, while you're floating helplessly in digital limbo, watching all that hard-earned loot about to vanish with the inevitable backspace. Just Star Citizen things, someone says, and everyone chuckles knowingly. That shared trauma is why the ladder improvements might be the most underappreciated quality of life enhancement in 4.3. The ability to look around while climbing, a full 355 degrees while stationary, enter and exit ladders at midpoints rather than only at ends, jump off in specific directions, and, most crucially, the end of the ladder vacuum effect that's claimed countless lives and inventory loads. CIG's notes specifically state that ladders should no longer vacuum players up who happen to wander past, and will require an interaction to step on by directly running into them at a direct angle to attach. It's the fix to a problem we've all experienced, but probably never expected to actually see addressed. Digging deeper into what makes Alpha 4.3 truly transformative, there are technical improvements that might seem minor on the surface, but represent significant steps toward the game we've all been imagining since backing. Dynamic snow isn't just a pretty visual effect, it's another piece of the planetary tech puzzle that's been slowly assembling since the early days. Remember when planets were first introduced? Static, unchanging environments with weather that existed as a simple state rather than a system. Each iteration has moved us closer to truly dynamic worlds. With 4.3, snow on MicroTech and other cold regions will vary in intensity based on weather conditions, using the same systems that currently power rain. Imagine tracking a target across MicroTech's tundra as a snowstorm gradually intensifies, visibility dropping from clear to near zero, forcing tactical decisions about whether to press on or seek shelter. It transforms weather from background decoration to an active participant in gameplay.
For those who've been following development closely, this is another step toward the Genesis planetary tech that CIG has been working on for years. Technology that will eventually allow for more dynamic environments across all planets and moons, including seasonal changes and regional weather patterns. The AI FPS turrets might seem like a simple enemy-type addition, but they represent a significant evolution in Star Citizen's combat encounters. These automated defense systems will likely behave differently from both human players and NPC soldiers. They'll have perfect aim within their parameters, but also predictable patterns and physical vulnerabilities. For veteran players who've mastered the current PvE combat loop, which often boils down to rush in and headshot everything before it can react, these turrets will force a reconsideration of tactics. Cover usage, approach angles, and timing will matter more when facing opponents that don't miss, but also don't adapt. Perhaps most subtly revolutionary is the mission pickup on location feature. This seemingly small addition fundamentally alters how narrative unfolds in the game. Instead of all missions flowing through the familiar contract manager system, you'll be able to discover new objectives organically through exploration. Imagine finding a data pad in an abandoned facility that automatically adds a search mission to your journal, or discovering a locked door that triggers an objective to find the keycard. This creates a more natural progression of discovery and reward, moving away from the current theme park approach, where all activities are neatly packaged and presented before you even leave the landing zone. For exploration-focused players who've been waiting for gameplay loops that reward curiosity rather than combat efficiency, this system could be the foundation for truly exploration-driven content. The community's reaction to these announcements has been fascinatingly divided, along lines that reveal our different visions for what Star Citizen should be. On Spectrum, the Old Guard backers are engaged in heated debate about whether cooperative zones threaten the integrity of the single shard vision that CIG has promoted since the project's inception. Some see instanced content as a slippery slope toward the kind of segmented gameplay that Star Citizen was specifically pitched against. If I can't interrupt your mission by bringing my hammerhead, is it really Star Citizen? One backer asked, only half jokingly. Meanwhile, Reddit has transformed into a lore detective agency, with elaborate theories connecting Dr. Jorrett's experiments to everything from the mysterious green substance in xenothreat crates to older narrative threads about AI development. Some players are compiling every mention of Jorrett, from mission texts, environmental details, and even old jump point articles, to create coherent theories about what we might discover underground. Discord communities are already forming exploration teams, with players assigning roles based on who will handle puzzles, combat, or documentation. There's something genuinely heartwarming about seeing people excited to work together in a game that often incentivizes solo play or small group activities. The content creators are having a field day too. Speculation videos are sprouting faster than picos in a merchandise store. Everyone has a theory about what these facilities contain, from alien technology to early prototypes of Von Dual bioweapons to the truth about why quantum travel doesn't actually require navigational planning despite what every sci-fi movie has taught us. This community reaction highlights the beautiful contradiction at the heart of Star Citizen's player base. Simultaneously the most skeptical and most imaginative players in gaming. The same people who create detailed spreadsheets tracking development delays will write novella-length lore theories based on 3 words in a developer update. It's a community that criticizes because it cares, that creates because it believes. As Alpha 4.3 approaches like an incoming storm, how should you prepare to make the most of these new features? Let's break down some practical approaches based on what we know so far. First, start building relationships with complementary players now. The random pilot who helped you fight off that hammerhead last week might become an essential teammate for exploring these underground labyrinths. Create a mental roster of players with different specialties. The methodical hacker, the precise sniper, the medic who somehow never panics under fire, the pilot who can actually land without bouncing. Solo players, this applies to you too. Now might be the time to finally join that Discord server or org you've been putting off. Even if you don't want to commit to a large organization, having a small pool of trusted players to call on will likely make these cooperative experiences significantly more rewarding. Second, diversify your equipment beyond the standard loadout. That multi-tool gathering dust in your inventory, make sure it has all available attachments: cutting, repair, tractor, mining, and salvage.
The description of these zones mentions investigation and puzzle solving, which suggests interaction with the environment beyond shooting. Those hacking chips you've been selling to clear inventory space, start collecting them again, especially the higher tiers. If these facilities follow the pattern established in other secure locations, electronic access will likely be a major component of progression through the different wings. Third, practice movement and positioning against fixed defenses. Next time you're in a bunker with security turrets, spend some time studying how they track targets, their firing patterns, blind spots, and effective ranges. The new AI FPS turrets will likely be more sophisticated, but understanding the basics of turret evasion could give you a crucial advantage. Finally, immerse yourself in the existing lore around ASD, Dr. Jorrett, and the regen crisis. These narrative elements have been scattered throughout the game for several patches now, in mission descriptions, environmental details, and NPC dialogue. Having this context will make discoveries in these new facilities more meaningful and might even provide hints about how to approach certain challenges. Beyond these preparations, 4.3 also brings deterministic rewards for Wicolo's special ships. The Misk Starlance attack with its enhanced weaponry, the Drake Golem outfitted for specialized hauling, and the Anvil Terrapin medic variant with expanded medical capabilities. No more relying on RNG to get the variants you want. Specific missions will lead to specific ships, adding purpose to your mercenary work. For fashion-conscious citizens, the new hairstyles and medium utility Ambrose armor, coming in a later point release, offer more customization options for your character. While cosmetic options might seem minor compared to new locations and gameplay, they're another piece in the gradually assembling puzzle of character identity and specialization. These approaching features represent not just new content, but new possibilities, new ways to experience this universe we've all been helping to build. Which elements spark your imagination most vividly? The sprawling underground facilities? The narrative threads connecting to the regen crisis? Or maybe it's just the simple joy of climbing a ladder without fear of quantum tunneling through reality. There's something almost poetic about how much excitement a ladder fix can generate in this community. A perfect encapsulation of the Star Citizen experience. We dream of interstellar empires and quantum mechanics while simultaneously celebrating when basic movement works correctly. It's like getting excited about both faster-than-light travel and finally fixing that squeaky door at home. Share your theories about these Onyx facilities in the comments. What experiments do you think Dr. Jorrett was conducting? How do you think they connect to the broader narrative? Your speculation might help others see connections they missed. And there's something uniquely Star Citizen about collectively solving a puzzle CIG hasn't even released yet.